Attention! Get in line! Stand up straight! As I review an animated film set in World War II. And to suit this film's military theme, I'm now taking my role as Corporal Jambareeqi very seriously. Despite the fact that it's a self-applied military title, nevertheless you should pay attention as I review an action fantasy anime.
First Squad is a Russian-Japanese animated war drama about a psychic girl called Nadia, who has suffered from a concussion that's led to amnesia. She discovers that she is a member of a special military force known as First Squad, and that she has the responsibility of stopping a 12th century sorcerer, called Baron von Wolf, from entering 40s Russia. You see, an SS officer wants this bloodthirsty magician to join the Nazi cause. So, Nadia enlists the help of her dead comrades by travelling to the world of the dead and encouraging them to join her side to stop the Baron. Ow. Ow! Just ow! This has to be one of the most headache-inducing animated films I've seen since the first Bionicle movie or Freddy's FR07. How can storytelling get this convoluted? Seriously. As soon as the movie begins, we're forced into accepting all these different concepts under such little time. They're all cool ideas, yeah, but I wanted more time to gradually understand them so that they could sink into me. All the information that we're given is explained clumsily through super brief flashbacks, pretentious abstract imagery, or rushed exposition. Not enough time is spent getting to know the characters, so we can't connect to them. Not enough time is spent letting us understand this fantasy-driven version of period Russia, so we can't settle into the setting. I mean, the storytelling is so hyperactive that it comes across as being too vague at times. With minimal care and attention put into the film's narrative and characters, the movie comes across as cold and harsh to me. I didn't care much about what was going on in the film, I couldn't care less about Nadia's story. Why? Well, because I'm never given the chance to journey into the movie's world. I felt almost pushed out and pushed away from these characters. While there is some fancy imagery at times, these imaginative visuals come across as indulgent due to their lack of context or little substance, or they seem like repeated exposition. Cool imagery is shallow and pointless to me if it just exists as eye candy. Okay, right, let's just talk about what little things I did appreciate. I liked how Nadia's extrasensory abilities aren't perfect. They don't always work and can give us some disturbing visions. This makes her powers come across as tragic rather than as a form of Deus Ex Machina to help solve her problems in one click. The other thing I liked was the intensity of the action set pieces and war scenes. They're exciting to watch despite knowing little or nothing about the characters. I like how these action scenes use both sword fighting and gunfire. It's an interesting mix. So what about the characters? Well, like I said before, I felt like I didn't get to know any of them enough. I found Nadia to be too precocious. She's so stern, serious, and mature for her age. I would be able to accept her strength and maturity a bit more if the film had shown how she lost her childhood innocence and became so adult. You could credit the boarding school for this, or her job, but it's not exactly clear. Not enough time is spent getting to know her experiences at the school, or her job as an assassin. We also don't get to know Nadia the human being. We don't get to know her personality, her traits, her hobbies, or her interests. We're just forced to accept who she is without getting to know the real her. What bugs me the most is that when Nadia's memories return, she seems to accept her identity too easily and casually falls into her role of an assassin. You would think she'd have difficulty settling into the realization that she's the army's dog, or being aware that she has to cause violence in her job. When a character's memories return, it should be a shock to them, don't you think? Especially if they've just remembered that they're a military assassin. That's a big deal. Nadia doesn't seem like a human being to me. She seems more like a prop than a character. Due to the lack of scenes focused on Nadia's days at military school with the First Squad, we don't get to know that much about the members of the First Squad themselves. There's nothing unique about their personalities, and it's hard to identify them from one another. They're forgettable and undefined. This is a shame because one flashback shows some nice times that they had in the summer. I wanted to see more scenes like this. The film is trying to convince us that these characters are important to Nadia, but I just don't care about them. There's also Nadia's general, who is really boring. He has no personality and no chemistry with Nadia. There's just nothing to him, nothing to identify him with. The character development in this movie is thinner than paper. It's so absent that these characters come across as lifeless dolls that I didn't give two shits about. What about the animation? I think it's pretty cool and slick, I guess. It's certainly fluid, energetic, and contained when it needs to be reserved. But animation in a feature film lacks power if the characters being animated are boring duds. However, the character designs are appealing to look at. They look very interesting and refined. If only these characters had as much personality as their designs. What about the voice acting? Well, in the English dub, the acting is decent, but sometimes it doesn't match the expressions or energy of the character animation. It's also sometimes a bit unenthusiastic or unconvincing. The music, however, is awesome. There's beautiful soft ambience that's as delicate as the Russian snow, fast-pumping techno that fits the action aspect of the film, and disturbing dark ambience that captures the horror of war. DJ Crush is a very talented composer in my opinion. To conclude, First Squad is an overambitious, shallow, and self-indulgent film that failed to capture my interests. Its characters are empty shells and difficult to connect to, let alone like. This has to be one of the weakest anime movies I've ever seen. The only valuable aspects are its awesome original music score, decent animation, and pretty character designs. However, a movie needs more than fancy visuals and sweet tunes. It needs interesting characters and a well-told story, two things that this film does not have in my opinion. I give it 2 snowy stars out of 5.